Welcome back to The Glue Guy, and today we have yet another fun, exciting episode filled with a few top fives, a few debate topics. As we see, we're in the off season for a lot of sports, but we're also right in the middle of other sports like baseball and Formula One. Soccer news is ramping up. NFL training camps are getting closer. College football is almost here. NFL is almost here, like I said. NBA Summer League just ended, so a lot of stuff to get through and a lot of fun questions that I'm going to answer. The first debate topic I have is who will have the better year two between these two now sophomore year quarterbacks in the NFL? Jayden Daniels with the Washington Commanders or Caleb Williams with the Chicago Bears? Well, it's no denying that Daniels had the much better rookie season. He won Offensive Rookie of the Year, and he took his Washington team all the way up into the NFC Championships and ultimately losing to Philadelphia, the eventual Super Bowl winners. Now, he also, although he did exceed expectations, he also did have a better fit to start off and be successful right away, that being Terry McLaurin as his main wide receiver, a great offensive line, some good running back depth, and Cliff Kingsbury as his offensive coordinator was very successful so far in the first year, and there's no denying it won't be successful continuing on later down the line. But with Caleb Williams, it was a very underwhelming rookie year, I think everyone would have to agree with and have to say. I mean, he didn't really perform anywhere near the expectations. He also didn't set himself up great by talking about how, I just texted our punter or whoever it was on draft day, like, you're not going to be punting a lot now that I'm here. Like, he set off these great expectations and clearly didn't live up to them. Now, a lot of that's not his fault. He had a terrible offensive line. They've made a coaching change. They now have Ben Johnson in as the head coach. He was the offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions in what was arguably the most fun to watch offense in the entire NFL. So now he's got him as his head coach and play caller. They've got more weapons. They've got Joe Thuney from the Chiefs to bolster up that offensive line and offer more protection for Caleb Williams. So I really think this second year, there really isn't any excuses he can use if he doesn't live up to expectations. So who do I think will have a better year two? I still think it'll be Jayden Daniels. I think Jayden Daniels, obviously he won the Heisman with LSU, Rookie of the Year this past season. And I just think I trust him more than I do Caleb Williams. I think that with some players, not the spotlight, but the ego gets in the way, and I think that may be the case with Caleb Williams. But that's just my opinion. I think Caleb Williams is a great player, and I hope he does well. I just think Jayden Daniels, A, is already a better player, and B, will have a better year too. The second question, sticking on the football side of things, can Ohio State make it back-to-back national championships? So they won the first ever 12-team college football playoff, as we all know, kind of in dominating fashion. They've lost a lot of talent due to graduation, like Quinshon Judkins, Travion Henderson, Emeka Egbuka, Will Howard, the quarterback. But obviously, they still have Jeremiah Smith, who is the best player in college football last year as a true freshman, will be again this year, will be again his junior year before he's off to the NFL. So the question of can Ohio State repeat and go back-to-back obviously is so much harder now that we have a 12-team college football playoff. It's not just 4 teams like we saw in the past where we would see Alabama continuously win or Georgia continuously winning. Clemson sprinkled in a few national championships here and there as well, and LSU. So I think the fact that it's 12 teams obviously makes it more difficult, and I think that other teams have a more established quarterback than Ohio State does now with Julian Sayin probably going to be the starter come week 1. You think of teams like Clemson. Cade Klubnik is a preseason Heisman favorite, and he is, everyone knows what to expect from him, amazing things. Obviously, there's a ton of hype around Arch Manning at the moment, obviously for his last name, for how well he played in different moments last season when they went with him instead of Quinn Ewers. But also it's a lot of expectation for him to live up to. You think of Garrett Nussmeier with LSU, another preseason Heisman hopeful, with an established quarterback there. So it's just hard to say, can a team that we don't really know what to fully expect at the quarterback position can repeat and go back-to-back. So for those reasons, I don't think the Buckeyes can go back-to-back. Not saying they won't have a great year, not saying they won't win the Big Ten or even make the the college football playoff. But I think there's better teams out there talent-wise, and I think there's other teams who may not be as good talent-wise, like Clemson, for example, but they have a confirmed 100% well-known starting quarterback in Cade Klubnik. So for reasons like those is why I don't think Ohio State can go back-to-back. And then moving on to soccer, the other football, I have written down with the now confirmed signing by Fabrizio Romano of Victor Gyökeres joining Arsenal for, I think it's 60 million euros or pounds. I don't know the exact fee, but does him going there finally complete Arsenal, and can we finally see them win a trophy? I mean, the main thing that Arsenal fans have been crying out for that they need is a pure number 9, a pure striker. Now, there are different options like Benjamin Sesko, who's younger. Victor Osimhen is always a name to think of or to be considered, but I think Victor Gyökeres playing in Portugal, obviously that does jack up his numbers, but he scored the most goals across the past 2 seasons in all of Europe. And so now that they've got that established striker at the peak age of his career, 28 years old, 27 years old, I think there really is no more excuses for Arteta and Arsenal. I think if they don't win a trophy, even if it's just a League Cup, I think they should look to move on from Arteta, because there's no denying he's brought them from a club that was struggling to have an identity, that was struggling to really succeed on any of the competitions available. And he's brought them to consistent second place finishes in the Premier League. They had a good run in the Champions League last year, but they haven't won a trophy. They haven't won the FA Cup. They haven't won the League Cup. Yes, they've challenged for the Premier League title for multiple years, but no one really quite believed they would get over the hump. And now that they have this striker in Gyökeres, who there's going to be a lot of expectation on him to perform, because he's had previous spells in England. He played for Brighton, he's played for Coventry, he's played for Swansea. For Brighton and Swansea in the Premier League, it was not a successful period of time for him. Maybe that's because he was young. And for Coventry, he played well in the Championship, but now here he is after really successful spell at Sporting, banging in all type of goals. He gets his move to Arsenal. He only wanted Arsenal. So the question being, does this complete them? Does this get them over the line to potentially actually win a trophy this season? I'm still going to say no. I think obviously a striker is what they needed, but I don't believe in Gabriel Martinelli as your starting left winger. I don't think he's good enough. I think Martin Odegaard is good, but I don't think he's great to the point where he can be your lead creative force in the midfield to win titles. I think that he's not a top 5 attacking midfielder in the Premier League, and if you want to compete to win titles, you need to have a top 5 player in each position, really. Just like City does, just like Liverpool are doing now, just like Chelsea, who are slowly but surely building a team that I think can be real underdogs to win the Premier League this upcoming season. So Arsenal, no doubt they should be finishing top 4. That's the bare minimum with this group of players, with this core group of young players mixed in with experienced players as well. And Arteta desperately needs a trophy for his resume, for everything he's built at Arsenal. It really doesn't mean anything unless they win something, which is what people said about Maurizio Pochettino at Spurs. He had this great young attacking team that everyone loved, with young Harry Kane, young Eriksen, young Dele Alli, young Heung-min Son. You had Alderweireld and Vertonghen at the back, Moussa Dembele. I mean, just an amazing team, but they didn't win anything. And so I think that's what everyone remembers most, is that they were great, but they just didn't win anything. And I think if Arsenal don't win a trophy this upcoming season, I think they're slowly going to be remembered as a team that was great but didn't win anything. So with Victor Gyökeres signing, that obviously makes them better in my opinion, but it's not enough to win the Premier League. It's not enough to win the Champions League. Maybe it's enough to win the FA Cup and League Cup. Those are kind of, you can't really predict those before the season starts. So, yeah. Moving in now to my 2 top 5 lists of the week. I have the first one being my top 5 current best Major League Baseball players. So coming in at number 5, I have Tariq Skubal, the pitcher for Detroit, the Tigers. He is constantly in the running to win a Cy Young Award. He has always been consistent for Detroit. He's my number 1 pitcher here. I mean, you'll see who later's on the list if you want to say he's a pitcher as well, which you can, which that pretty much gives it away who it is. But I think we all know who number 1 is. But yeah, I think Tariq Skubal is probably the best 100% only pitcher in baseball. Number 4, I have Pete Crow Armstrong for the Cubs. He's kind of come out of nowhere, for at least for me, maybe to more experienced or people who watch baseball every single day knew who he was, but he was actually somebody I hadn't really heard of before the season started, and he's just been fantastic for the Cubs. At number 3, I have Cal Raleigh for the Mariners. He has been the best home run hitter in all of baseball this season. You saw it at the All-Star break for the Home Run Derby. You've seen it up until now. He is far and away the leader in home runs, and definitely the best heavy hitter in baseball. Number 1 and 2 are consensusly the 2 best players in baseball, probably for the past few years, and that's Aaron Judge in the 2 spot and Shohei Ohtani in the 1 spot. Judge has just been consistently amazing ever since he's been with the New York Yankees, always overperforming expectations, never letting anyone down, and never really to be blamed for when the Yankees inevitably do fail in the World Series. And then Shohei Ohtani, one of the best talents you've ever seen in baseball, maybe the best with how good he is as a pitcher, with how good he is as a hitter. Won the World Series last year to finally, have what he's been looking for when he started out with the Angels, now with the Dodgers. So, yeah, my top 5 players in baseball: Tariq Skubal, Pete Crow Armstrong, Cal Raleigh, Aaron Judge, and Shohei Ohtani for this season currently. And finally, rounding out this video, I have my top 5 college basketball programs of all time. I promise you, there's no bias in this. This is my pure 100% opinion. So here we go. At number 5, I do have the Duke Blue Devils, 100% one of the blue bloods of the sport. Coach K really elevated Duke into this position throughout his 40-plus years of coaching. Multiple national championships, multiple first-round picks, multiple number 1 overall picks, multiple All-Americans, multiple National Player of the Years, like we just saw with Cooper Flagg being National Player of the Year, All-American, first overall pick. They're always going to be in the running for the best freshman in the country. They're always going to be considered a blue blood, no matter what happens. So I have Duke at number 5. At number 4, I have their rivals, the North Carolina Tar Heels, with such a rich history as well. You think of Roy Williams, you think of Dean Smith, you think of so many, I guess, former Kansas people as well, but connections and roots to North Carolina, multiple national championships, multiple historic moments, multiple All-Americans, some of my favorite players from North Carolina that I've been alive to watch. I loved Marcus Page. I know he got some heat for when he left, but I really liked Caleb Love when he was at North Carolina. You think of the national championship team under Roy Williams that had Justin Jackson, Kennedy Meeks, what's his name? The guard, Joel Berry II. Really fun players that I grew up watching. So I have North Carolina at number 4. And for my favorite players at Duke, I really liked Marvin Bagley when he was there as a freshman. I've really liked watching Cam Reddish when he was there as a freshman. Obviously, all the freshmen they've had were fantastic to watch, but those are the 2 that come to mind for me. At number 3, I have the Kentucky Wildcats. Also, multiple national championships, most wins in college basketball history. Coach Cal really made them the premier spot to go if you want to make it to the NBA. You think of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Tyrese Maxey, Anthony Davis. I know I'm missing some incredible players as well, but those are the 3 that come to mind. They haven't won a national championship since 2012, since Coach Cal did it with Anthony Davis, Karl-Anthony Towns, Devin Booker, John Wall. Sorry, these players all just came to mind. But now with a former national champion themselves as their coach, Mark Pope, with the different type of recruiting, I don't know if they'll get as many 5-star one-and-dones, but with the way college basketball is now, it was hard to keep up with that, even if Cal was still at Kentucky. But yeah, I think with Mark Pope there, maybe they'll have more of a chance to win a national championship with more of a focus on experience, but we'll have to wait and see. But for me, 3rd best program of all time. Number 2, I do have the UCLA Bruins. Obviously, John Wooden, obviously Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, all the fantastic players they've had back in that time of time of college basketball. Obviously, they haven't been as good or as much of a perennial powerhouse in recent times, but just because maybe as of right now they're not as powerful as they used to be, you cannot discredit the historic past that they've had. Some of my favorite players there, Lonzo Ball was obviously great to watch. Bryce Alford was a great player when he was there with his dad, when he was the coach. Or Steve Alford, I can't remember. One was dad, one was the player. I don't remember exactly what it was. Who else have I liked there? Tiger Campbell was fun. Johnny Juzang, when they made that run to the Final Four, was a great player for that team. So, yeah, those are the players that come to mind. And then number one, I promise you, I'm not biased, but I do have the Kansas Jayhawks. They are, in my opinion, the best college basketball program of all time. You think of the fact that James Naismith, the creator of basketball, brought it to Kansas. Nowhere else. He brought it to KU, albeit he is our worst coach of all time if you compare it to win-loss records. But he is the creator of the game. We have the best arena in all of college basketball in Allen Fieldhouse. I think that's pretty universally accepted. 6 national championships, multiple Final Fours, multiple All-Americans. Obviously, that stretch of Big 12's won with Bill Self as the head coach. It's just a history that goes all the way back to when the game started, and they're just as good now. And you think of, like I said, Dean Smith, a historic figure at Carolina, coming from KU. Adolph Rupp, a historic figure at Kentucky, also with roots to KU. And it's just every year the expectations are the same. Like they say, faces change, expectations don't. And those expectations are to always win the Big 12 and to always be in a Final Four conversation when the season starts. Some of my favorite players, I think Frank Mason is my all-time favorite player from KU that I've seen. Devontae Graham obviously was amazing. Josh Jackson was a fantastic freshman when he was here. I had another favorite player, but don't know if I can really think of him as that anymore, just due to off the court reasons. But yeah, and obviously now Darren Peterson, the 5-star freshman, after 2 pretty subpar years for KU and Bill Self, he is here to save the program, not save the program, but bring them back into where we belong, and that should be in the Final Four conversation. So KU number 1, UCLA number 2, Kentucky 3, North Carolina 4, and Duke at number 5. Okay, that's going to wrap up today's episode of The Glue Guy. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts. If you disagree with anything I say, I'd love to know. And yeah, I'll see you for the weekly recap on Sunday.